wide variety of different themes you can use. You can also choose which menu font color you want. So if you have trouble seeing certain colors, if you're colorblind, or you just like the looks of certain themes and colors, it's possible to change in there. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my main settings screen here. Go to General, and I am going to go through, and there's 1, 2, or 3 panels you can choose to view. So that is how many basically sections the screen is broken into. So if I have 3, a third of the screen is going to be each panel. I had 2 set up originally when I got into it, so that was right half of the screen was panel 2, left half of the screen was panel 1. You could set it 1, 2, or 3, so if you have different applications you want to run in different panels, you can have individual panels set to different applications. You can also overlay applications such as Sonar over a map or over a camera, or over just a solid color as well, or a picture background. You want to make sure, if you're having trouble with any, like if you have a module in the back and it's not working for some reason, you want to make sure you go down to the enable port. There's port 1 enable, port 2 enable, and port 3 enable, and make sure those are all on. If those are set to off, it just won't recognize the module that's in the back of the port. So I have all 3 set to on, which is what I'd want. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my main screen here. As you might be able to notice, there's a red satellite icon in the upper right hand corner. When that icon is visible, it means that you do not have a satellite lock. So the RT-9 is currently searching for a satellite to locate to be able to use the GPS function. Once that disappears, it is locked in on sufficient satellites to give you a GPS location. I'm deep inside the building here at Markham Technologies, so it's not going to disappear for us on this video, but just be aware that if that is visible, you do not have a GPS lock, and you will need to have a GPS lock before that icon goes away. Another thing to notice is in the lower right hand corner there's a black battery icon with a lightning bolt in it, which is indicating that my internal battery is charging via my external battery. So I'm going to go ahead and press panel 1, and I'm going to set that to my map right now. So I go ahead and select Navionics map. I have an Navionics chip in here. Right now, the first time you ever launch the map, it's going to go to its default location, which is off the coast of Africa. So as you can see, I just accidentally set a waypoint there. As you can see, my location is off the coast of Africa. So I am in free mode right now on my map. So I can scroll and go to wherever I want on the map. So I have my Navionics chip loaded in the top part in my maps SD slot. So I'm going to go ahead and have a pretty detailed map. If we go to Mille Lacs Lake here, I have overlays on and stuff too, so that's why it looks more like a picture than just a graphic map. Depending on what your map settings are set to as far as texture, exaggerations, 2D, 3D, your map might look different. You also might not have certain aspects of the map depending on what Navionics chip you've purchased. So now I have my map set to panel 1. I have only 2 panels open right now, so I'm going to go ahead and hit panel 2, and I want to turn on my sonar. So I'm going to put it in graph mode, and it'll come up, and you can hear the clicking, but there's nothing showing. That's because the transducer is in the cup. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my settings, and then you'll see Markham Sonar Settings. I'm going to go into that, and I'm going to go ahead and go all the way to the bottom and turn on a simulator, and then hit the back button a few times. And now I have a simulation of a graph going. So as you can see, it's roughly 31, 32 feet There's fish marking, undulating bottom, and it's scrolling across. It's going to just scroll across in this panel because I have just this panel set up for sonar. I can make it scroll across the map as well by going back into the panel, panel 1, and selecting sonar. And I want to select graph because to be the same. And then it's going to put the map in the background and have my actual sonar overlaid over the top of it. You can also do this over a camera picture, so you can still use the whole screen if you want to see that, and be able to use your sonar and your camera, or your sonar and your map function at the same time without having to flip back and forth. Other things you can change, if I want to go into my sonar settings, I can change my range, manually. Dynamic range if I'm in manual dynamic. It's in auto right now because of the simulator, so that's why it's in there. I have my zoom options, my sensitivity, my interference rejection are in here, cone angle. Basically everything you've come to be accustomed to with other Markham Technologies products are going to be in here, accessible through the Markham Sonar functionality and the Markham Sonar settings. Go all the way down. You can also change the colors, scales, the scrolling speed. You can change that. Your deucer offset to get a completely accurate reading. Pretty much anything you want to change is just as accessible in through there. I'm going to go back, and now I'm going to go into my mapping settings, and I can change all my map settings. Like I explained earlier, I have the map overlay on to kind of give us more of a broader picture rather than just a cartoon graphic. There's a bunch of different modes. There's more, in depth. I'm just giving a brief overview now. There is other videos on our website, www.markhamtech.com, that explain each individual section of this: the sonar settings, the map settings, the camera settings. A little bit more in depth. If you'd like to go ahead and visit our website and check that out more in depth, but it's pretty self-explanatory as far as playing around. As you can see, my theme, just the color with this background, is tougher to read the depth in there. So I can go ahead. I'm going to go back into settings, go to general. Actually, I'm going to go to theme, and I'm going to change it to something else. So I'm going to change my theme to trout, and it'll ask me to restart, and I'm just going to go ahead and restart. I'll have to agree to the license agreement and then we'll see if that change changed the color and made it a little easier. Otherwise, you can go in, and then obviously it's going to go back off the coast of Africa because I don't have a GPS lock, so I'd have to move it all the way back. If I wanted to just add, so I'm going to clear out all these panels. When I want to change it, I have to select none to be able to change something completely. So I want this side to remain in my sonar. I want this to be just map, and then I'm going to go ahead and add a third panel and go back, and this one I'm just going to put a solid color, and I'm going to go ahead and go with a dark blue just to show you what 3 different applications would be with 3 panels. It's so customizable that everybody's going to have different preferences as far as colors. You can change the sizes of the menu. I can make the font on the bottom, on the status bar down here, I can make the font bigger, I can make it smaller, I can make things show through more on the back side, make the font pop more. It's kind of going to be completely up to you as far as what you like, what you want. There's almost endless possibilities as far as how you want to make it look. Another thing I haven't talked about yet, on the main screen here is our record button. Anytime you want to hit the record button, you can record whatever's on the screen. So, say I had a nice fish mark that I wanted to see in this situation, I'd hit record. Once I hit record, it comes up with a timer that's telling me how long it is for recording, and there's a blue stop button. So if I hit blue, the blue stop button, I stopped recording, and I recorded that 5 seconds that was there to show you. That will be saved internally or to a card you have in the SD slot. You can do that in your settings menu. You can change it to saves internally to the hard drive or to an SD card specifically. That will be saved if it's internally in your files that you can access. The first time you save a video, it might take a little bit longer as the machine's kind of learning itself, but subsequently those videos should start to get into a spot where you can access them a little bit quicker. So that's basically, so if I hit that return button, it asks me if I want to exit the Markham app, so I'm going to hit cancel, and I can also hit the home button, and it'll just take me right back to it, and then it's still running in the background, everything's running, and I can also hit that button there and quickly get back into it, and it's like I never left. But if I hit return and exit, I can get back to the screen as well. I mean, that's pretty much a basic overview of our Markham RT-9. A couple things to remember. You always want to make sure that you're properly docked and that it's charging when you're properly docked. In case you are using the GPS feature and you pop it off the docking cradle and you're walking around on a lake to try to find spots and mark waypoints, you're going to start losing that internal battery. That internal battery can last, approximately an hour and a half to 2 hours, not connected and not charging on the docking cradle, but that's going to vary depending on what applications you're running. We recommend having screen brightness down a little bit to save on some battery life, and also if you're not in range of a Wi-Fi network and you're not using the Wi-Fi, to disable it and have the Wi-Fi off, as it might continuously try to gain Wi-Fi accessibility, and it might help, or it might be draining the battery. So the battery icon is something to be aware of, there, and also in the RT app on the lower right hand corner. So that's basically an overview of the RT-9 system. If you have any questions, our website markhamtech.com is loaded with helpful videos. They get more in-depth and more specific to certain aspects of the RT-9, quick 2 to 3 minute videos, or feel free to contact us at markhamtech.com. Thank you for your time. Thanks.